Let's plan my spring personal curriculum. This is going to be from January through May, except January is almost over. Oops. So February through May. When I posted my how to plan your personal curriculum video, I basically took my process, simplified it down, and made it into a system, which I think is great for communicating to other people and showing them how they could do something similar if they wanted to. But what I don't think came through is just how unorganized and all over the place and how much time it takes to plan out a personal curriculum. So I am going to plan out my personal curriculum real time right here, at least get a really good structure down for it. And I will be following the steps I laid out in my other video, but it's going to be a little bit more realistic to how at least I think and maybe how you think as well. Every course will be a little bit different, and this curriculum specifically is going to be much different from my last one. So feel free to sit down with me and figure out your own personal curriculum. I hope this gives you some ideas. I wrote down every course that I thought would be interesting for a personal curriculum course. And I have just kept a running list of that. I have so many different interests and I cannot do all of these things. So I'm going to go through it first and figure out which ones are going to fit spring the best. And I said this curriculum was going to be much different from last, and that is because I am in an actual learning course. I'm in a full-on boot camp. All the learning is very condensed. I have a lot of meetings and presentations. I have multiple a week, a lot of projects. It's mostly self-paced, which is nice. I do have deadlines, but they give you plenty of time with deadlines, which is really nice. But I'm trying to finish this as quickly as possible while doing the best work I possibly can do. So all of my time and energy is going to be going into that. But I still want to make sure I am learning other things on the side that can benefit me or interest me. But the first thing I did, and I would recommend doing this if you are in college, I went through and put down my schedule for my boot camp. And this gives me a really good idea of how much time I actually have to dedicate to additional learning. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's much. And this is my personal curriculum Notion, and we'll get into Notion later when I plan stuff out. I plan on paper, so the Notion is going to come later. So these are the course ideas I have. These are not fully fleshed out. A lot of these are not going to be these are not good titles. And I would need to go through and actually figure out how to make it into a course. But I have creative nonfiction writing. Next is couponing, because I think knowing how to shop strategically and how to save money is just a really good skill to have. Astronomy. And I did find a Khan Academy course that looked interesting, and that might be a fun way to get into it again. YouTube. Workout and specifically building muscle and body recomp and really getting into how that works. Learning to cook high protein and relatively low calorie foods that taste good. If you can't tell, I'm motivated to start, working out and eating better again. Next is reading Exodus. I am trying to get through all of the Old Testament, and I'm doing it book by book. So last semester I did Genesis. And while I would love to combine ancient Egypt in with Exodus, I think ancient Egypt is going to have to be its own thing. So next is ancient Egypt. And then this is prepping for the best summer ever. And I think what this would be is staying up to date on local events and things that are going on. So I always have something to do in summer. It needs to be fleshed out more. Getting into fragrance layering or kind of making my own scents. Building anti-stress habits and routines that aren't stressful. Stretching, yoga, learning to do my nails, because I think I would need a whole course to do that. I've tried to do it my entire life, can't figure it out. Learn to do my hair, same thing. Maybe a dance class. I love dancing. Learning to take care of the plants that I have. Growing herbs or plants for cooking inside, starting my own little kitchen garden. Some sort of course that involves reading the books that I have, because I have been buying quite a lot of books, and the percentage of unread books in my collection is too high for my liking. And then I have journaling in general. I don't typically journal about things that are bothering me or about other people or anything. I do enjoy writing just in general, so I think just getting into the practice of that would be really good. Okay, so figuring out what I want to do. So I found this video, and I will have to link it up below, but I took journaling prompts from that have completely changed my day-to-day life. I am not kidding, because they're prompts for figuring out what to prioritize on your to-do list. And I'm wondering if I can use those to kind of whittle these down and figure it out. Some of them are from the video and then some of them are just my own. Is anything non-negotiable? Obviously, this is going to be my boot camp. Oh, what is exciting? Okay, everything is exciting. So maybe I'll skip that question for now. What would make my life easier after the spring curriculum is over if I did this? Honestly, maybe the writing, both of the creative nonfiction and just kind of journaling in general, to kind of build that writing muscle back up. I feel like writing is just kind of one of those skills that will always be really helpful no matter like what you're doing. Maybe another question I could ask is, what could I do that would push myself towards my longer term goals? Not necessarily long term goals as in, you know, like your 5-year plan, but just longer term as in maybe the year or something. Definitely Exodus. Couponing, I do want to learn how to do that. YouTube, prepping for the best summer ever. You know what? I am going to go back to the what's exciting question, and I'm putting that one down. Some sort of course that involves reading books I have. Maybe what I could do is try to incorporate the books I have into some of the other courses. All right, so what do I have? I have, so obviously the boot camp, creative nonfiction, and also journaling, reading Exodus, couponing, YouTube, and then preparing for the best summer ever. That's a lot. And I don't have time for all of that. I guess maybe I could have time for it. I would just need to figure out like how to like not spend too much time on it. Well, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to actually figure out what each of these would be realistically. Okay. So I think Exodus might be the easiest one. So I already started reading it. I actually got through the fun stuff, which is like, you know, the plagues and stuff. And now I am to, unfortunately, the boring part. I need to read chapters 18 through 40. There's how many? It's 22 chapters. I have 18 weeks. That should be doable. I do have this book. I was reading it for Genesis, and I think there's Exodus related ones in yes, there is. Just chapters 8 and 9 from this book. For YouTube, I should probably pick a focus. Last semester, if you remember, I don't even remember what I did. Methods of creative ideation. I also did trend analysis and growth strategies and brand positioning for YouTube. Something I've really been wanting to improve on is thumbnails. So yeah, we'll do thumbnails, which is going to involve A/B testing and stuff, obviously, and then recording all of that. I think a good schedule for YouTube would be about every other week, which is tough, but I think that's doable, and if it's too much, I can push it to 1 or maybe 2 times a month. So 18 weeks, that would be 9 videos. Okay, couponing. Now, I am going to be doing this for grocery shopping, but the fun part is I really want to learn how to coupon to get like free or very cheap makeup beauty stuff, because I love experimenting with new stuff. So it looks like CVS might be the best place to do this, or at least the best place to start learning how to do this. And now I have been couponing for groceries for about most of January. So I'm all set up on, you know, all the apps, all the websites, but maybe I could dedicate 1 time a month going into CVS. What I'm doing, I think, for Christmas for my sisters next year is doing this like beauty advent calendar for them. So throughout this entire year, I'm going to be shopping for myself, but also for them. But obviously doing that's going to be like really expensive unless I do it through couponing. I should probably set a money limit to that. If I'm just shopping for myself, I would probably set a limit of like, I want to say $5, but that's too low. I'd probably just set a limit of $10. So for the best summer ever, this can mean so many different things. There are so many things I want to do to prepare for summer, but what I could turn into, I think like a little mini course is like local appreciation, local business appreciation, local events, titles work in progress. But, you know, it would be doing research on all of the coffee shops that I want to go to that maybe have like outside seating this summer where I can go, especially like to study and stuff now that I'm actually in like a full boot camp. If there's any like fun free events going on, especially like outdoor music type stuff, if there's new things opening, like what's going on at the farmer's market, is there like a new vendor I want to check out? You know what? I can figure out the specifics of this later, but I can just put down maybe once a week, like sit down and just see if there's anything new going on. I'm sure there's like Facebook groups and stuff. Okay. Yeah, once a week research. Okay, creative nonfiction and journaling. The hard thing about creative nonfiction, I was trying to do research on it, like reports, creative nonfiction in journaling, and unfortunately there wasn't a lot of information I was able to find. I might have saved something to Goodreads. Let me hop on my Goodreads. Getting to the Truth, the Craft and Practice of Creative Nonfiction. Also save The Writer's Practice, Building Confidence in Your Nonfiction Writing. Part of this would also be actually writing, so I think I would need to put in schedule time to write a journal entry, maybe once a week to practice what I learn. I also feel like a really important part of learning to write creative nonfiction is by reading some good nonfiction. Last semester, I read a lot of where the information in these nonfiction books were really good, but the writing was really, really bad. But I have some here that might be good. I have a lot of these Penguin modern classics. I think they're all nonfiction. This might be a great time to finally read this. This is Florida. I also have this. I have not read this. The Light Eaters, How Unseen World of Plant Intelligence Offers a New Understanding of Life on Earth. It's been really hard for me to find more scientific books that have good writing, but someone said a masterpiece of science writing. And I'll have to do some research to see if poetry is helpful for creative nonfiction. I'm not quite sure, but I have an Emily Dickinson and then a Mary Oliver. But maybe I could set aside time to read a nonfiction book that I own once a week. Okay, I took a break, figuring this out, have my heated blanket on. It is chilly. This is kind of my plan. This written out, sure, it looks good, but I need to put this into the Notion calendar and see if this actually looks realistic to do. So you can see for spring 2026, I already have bootcamp Intro to Exodus. Basically, I'm going to do 2 chapters to start. And then once I'm doing 1 chapter a week, I'll start to read the other book that I'm reading with this. February, I'll try to get through chapter 8 in like these 3 weeks. And then in March, I'll work on getting through chapter 9. So I also wrote down like other things I would have to do to go along with each of the courses. So for YouTube, the thumbnails, what I probably need to do first is update the thumbnail strategy. And this, I kept the title super simple: thumbnail, design, and strategy. And then I'll have to create some sort of way to track A/B testing results. And the thing is, I don't need to do a ton of research on this. I already kind of know what makes a good thumbnail. My problem is just the design aspect of me doing it. I just really need to put in the work. You'll probably notice with a lot of these, a lot of this is project based. It's not necessarily consuming more information. Now, I think for this, like I literally can't upload a YouTube video without making a thumbnail. So I think what I'm just gonna do is just put YouTube video as like the project. And for the YouTube videos, I don't care which day of the week it goes up, just as long as it goes up that week. So I'll just put YouTube video on Mondays. Couponing. So I said I wanted to go once a month. We will skip January. We'll just go straight to February. I'll just put this on the 1st. I don't have to do it on the 1st. I can literally do it at any time during the month. The coupons for CVS come out every Sunday. So every Sunday I want to sit down, see what there is, see what the deals are. So for journaling, I'm going to call it personal writing practice. And for this, I'm going to write once a week, and I'm going to be using this book as a prompt. I bought this book because I like their newsletter. I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit disappointed when I opened this, but I think it would be good for creative journaling prompts, especially when it's relating to like YouTube and stuff. So I thought, like, I have the book, I might as well use it. I ended up naming the summer one Local Exploration. So basically, some one-time things for this is I want to find a way to track everything. I'm probably going to make like a Notion page and have like a calendar in there, lists of like coffee shops with like outdoor seating, like that kind of stuff. I'm gonna make a list so I know like what I'm searching for: outdoor concerts, book fairs, that kind of stuff. And then once a week, I think on Sundays would be fun if I sit down and just do a little bit of research. And then for creative nonfiction, I named it Intro to Creative Nonfiction. I didn't want to buy a book, and I don't want to add more books to my collection. I have too many, I say, as I bought 2 cookbooks yesterday. So I found a book at the library. I actually already checked it out. It's an ebook. It's called The Art of Creative Nonfiction, and there's 13 chapters. It looks like a pretty easy read, which is nice, and it looks like it's broke down to really manageable chunks. It returns in 3 weeks, so I'm reading like 4 chapters a week, so I make sure I read all of it, and I think that'll give me a good starting point. I also found some articles that I want to take some notes on and read, and it's hard to build out. Like, I don't know what I don't know. Once I read the book, I think I'm gonna have even more questions, and then maybe I would read a second book to help answer some of those or go deeper into one area. Once a week, I want to practice what I learned. I would like to read, this is asking for a lot. I would like to read from my nonfiction collection once a week. It doesn't sound like a lot, but just like with everything else, this sounds like this is going to be a lot. And this will help me to like get through my, read through my collection. Oh, and then finally, I have been wanting to start like a scrapbook journal for traveling where I'll have a lot of pictures and stuff, but I also want to write about the trip. And I think this would be a really good opportunity to practice creative nonfiction writing. That's going to be like my big project for that. I'm going to try to do that once a month starting next month. And now that everything's in here, this is looking like a lot. I think I can probably manage it. However, if I can't, the first thing to go is going to be personal writing practice, journaling, just completely scrap that one. And then for the creative nonfiction, I think I would take out the extra reading. I'm sure as I learn, as I go through this, I will be changing things. But as of now, this is the 2026 spring personal curriculum. Oh, I should add little covers. Here's what it looks like. I haven't done it yet, so hopefully that looks cute. If you would like another personal curriculum video, please let me know. That is all I have for now. I will see you in the next video. Bye.